Some recent online posts have been about conduit systems, and there seems to be some confusion and misunderstanding from one or two of the contributors. This video hopes to enlighten those that are struggling with what to do and to reinforce understanding for those that are learning this trade. The most popular questions were: how many cables can I pull through in the length of conduit? And how full should the trunking be? Is there a rule of thumb? There is no guaranteed method to arrive at an always correct answer. Many factors can influence the maximum capacity of trunking or conduit, and yes, it can be a case of rule of thumb and common sense. Some things to consider, especially with conduit, can include cable damage when drawing in cables, perhaps the first consideration and the last thing we want to do. Cable size variations between different cross-sectional areas of copper and between different thicknesses of insulation between cable manufacturers. There will be internal measurement tolerances for trunking and conduit and for differences in wall thickness between metallic and plastic trunking. Consider also the maximum load of enclosed conductors and grouping effects, and are thermoplastic and thermosetting cables mixed in the same containment. For this video, we will mainly consider the need to have an ease of drawing in of cables and the prevention of physical cable damage. Grouping and loading of cables will be another video. We will look at Appendix E of the on-site guide. This will be to the 18th edition of the Wiring Regulations, Amendment 2, and we should all have a copy of this very useful guide from the IET. In this video, we'll look at PVC insulated single conductors and thermosetting singles. We will consider straight runs of conduit up to 3 meters in length, straight runs of conduit exceeding 3 meters in length, conduit runs of any length with 1, 2, 3 or 4 bends, and trunking systems. Knowing how to interpret the tables is so important, and it is not good practice to install twin and earth cables in conduit. We should be installing single cables. So we will consider insulated single cables with either solid or stranded copper conductors, conduit systems and trunking systems in either metal or plastic, short runs, long runs, straight runs and runs with bends. We all want to know how many cables is too many for a certain conduit, or, looked at another way, is this conduit big enough for the cables that need to be installed? Find the cable factor for each conductor and add them together. And then we will find the conduit factor for the conduit diameter, the length and the number of bends. And if the total sum of the cable factors is less than the conduit factor, then that is an acceptable number of cables. So how do we calculate cable factors and conduit factors? Looking at conduit first, there are 2 ways to use the tables. You may want to know how many cables will fit in this conduit, or you may need to know what size conduit is needed for a certain number of cables. Let's have an example to show you how we use the tables. If we have an already installed straight 20mm diameter conduit that is 2.5 meters in length, and we want several single cables to pass through the conduit, specifically 2 pairs with solid conductors, line and neutral at 2.5 square millimeters, 2 pairs of stranded conductors, line and neutral at 2.5 square millimeters, and 2 pairs of stranded line and neutral at 1.5 square millimeters. The question asks, is this an acceptable quantity of cables for this size conduit? And we are directed to use tables E1 and E2 of the on-site guide. In this example, we first calculate the cable factors. Each individual cable will have a certain factor relating to its size and the ease with which that size can be pulled through the conduit. Consulting table E1 for cables in straight short runs, find the section for solid conductors and 2.5 square millimeters in size. This is 39 for each cable. Now for stranded cables. This time, the 2.5 square millimeter conductor has a cable factor of 43, and 1.5 square millimeter conductor has a cable factor of 31. 4 cables times 39 is 156. 4 times 43 is 172, and 4 multiplied by 31 is 124. Add them all together and we have a combined cable factor of 452 for this example. Now look at the conduit factor and table E2 for conduit in short runs of not more than 3 meters. Table E2 shows that a 2.5 meter length of 20 mm conduit has a conduit factor of 460. Now compare the cable factor to the conduit factor. All the cables have a combined cable factor of 452, which is just less than the conduit factor of 460. We can say that the conduit factor is greater than the cable factor, and that the conduit size is acceptable for the given sizes and quantities of cables. Let's now choose a conduit size for a given quantity of cables. We must select a suitable sized straight conduit that is 3 meters in length for these cables. At 1.5 square millimeters we have 2 line conductors plus 2 neutral conductors and 2 CPC or earth, 6 cables in all. Then 2.5 square millimeter, 2 line plus 2 neutral plus 2 CPC, again 6 cables. And then 6 square millimeter, 1 line plus 1 neutral plus 1 CPC, making 3 cables for this size. Note that single CPC or earth sizes are the same size as the corresponding line conductor. See Regulation 543.1.4 and Table 54.7 in the Wiring Regulations book. Using Table E1 again, we can calculate the cable factors for the relevant stranded conductor sizes and quantities. Add them all together and we have a total cable factor of 708. Stranded cables have a higher cable factor as they are a slightly larger size than solid cables, as there is a very small air gap between each copper strand. With solid conductors there is no gap, just one solid piece of copper. Now find the conduit factor that is equal to or greater than 708. Looking at table E2, we can see that the 25 mm diameter conduit should be selected with a conduit factor of 800. Move on to table E4 now. This is table E4 from the on-site guide. It may look a little daunting at first, but let's break it down into several easy to follow parts. This table is key to your understanding. First of all, there is a blank area at the top left. This is the section we have just covered with tables E1 and E2. This blank area is specifically for straight runs of not more than 3 meters. The rest of table E4 is for straight runs over 3 meters and for all runs of any length with bends. Starting on the left hand side in the blue box, we have the length of the conduit in meters. The green box is highlighting the part of the table to use for straight conduit runs of varying diameter and length, and at the bottom of the table are factor multipliers for larger conduit sizes. Shown in the red boxes are 4 blocks of factors for conduit sizes and conduit lengths with 1, 2, 3 or 4 bends. Another example, a conduit system with 2 bends is to be installed with a length of 8 meters. There are 3 6 square millimeter single cables to be pulled through, 1 line, 1 neutral, 1 CPC or earth. First, calculate the cable factor and then find the minimum diameter conduit for this circuit. For cable factors, use table E3 on page 163. For conduit factors, use table E4 on page 164. Consulting table E3 for cable factors, we can see that 6 square millimeter cable has a cable factor of 58. 3 58s give us a total cable factor of 174. Now turn to table E4 on page 164 of the on-site guide. Find 8 meters for the conduit length on the left-hand side. Follow the row to the right until we find the block for 2 bends and a conduit factor of at least 174. This is a conduit factor of 292. Follow the column up the table and we have a suitable conduit size of 25mm diameter. Trunking next, and tables E5 and E6. Cable factors for trunking are found in tables E5 on page 165. Cables can be solid or stranded, and in the next example we will be selecting PVC cables. Data in table E5 is for cables laid in metal trunking. Factors for plastic trunking may need adjusting by decreasing the metallic trunking factors in table E6 to take account of the usually thicker walls in plastic trunking compared to metal trunking. Alternatively, increase the cable factors slightly when using plastic trunking. Also, metallic trunking has better thermal conductivity than plastic. The plastic trunking tends to hold any heat in. As a rule of thumb, we should allow a 45% to 50% space factor inside the trunking. In other words, only fill the trunking to about 50% of the available space inside the trunking, and allow for grouping and loading when selecting cable sizes. This is table E6 to be used for determining factors for trunking. Table E6 is made up of 2 blocks, 2 columns of factors as shown by the red and blue boxes. Let's work through an example. A 75mm by 25mm metallic trunking system contains 12 circuits of 3 2.5 square millimeter single PVC stranded cables for each circuit, a total of 36 single cables. You've been asked to install 2 additional circuits of 3 4 square millimeter single PVC stranded cables each in the same trunking, an additional 6 cables. Consult tables E5 and E6 and decide if these 2 additional circuits will allow for continued compliance with Appendix E. Looking at table E5 for cable factors, we have the 2.5 square millimeter cables with a factor of 12.6 each and a factor of 16.6 each for the 4 square millimeter single stranded cables. Doing the maths, we have 453.6 and 99.6. This is a total cable factor of 553.2. Now find 75mm by 25mm trunking in table E6. This has a trunking factor of 738. The cable factor after the additional circuits is 553, which is less than the trunking factor, and the size of trunking will still comply with Appendix E. Summing up, there are 2 questions that we need answers to with conduit or trunking. First question: how many cables will fit in a given conduit or trunking size? To answer this, consult table E2, E4 or E6 as appropriate. Find the trunking factor for that size trunking or conduit factor for that diameter and length of conduit, and save this number. Next, add together all the cable factors as determined by tables E1, E3 or E5. If the total sum of the cable factors is equal to or less than the conduit or trunking factor, then that is an acceptable quantity of cables. The second question: what size conduit or trunking is suitable for the required cables. For this one, consult tables E1, E3 or E5 as appropriate. Find the cable factor for each and every cable and add together all the cable factors. Save the number. If it is conduit, determine the length of the conduit system. From table E2, E4 or E6 as appropriate, find the trunking or conduit factor that is equal to or greater than the total of all the cable factors and select this size. Remember that the conduit or trunking factor must always be equal to or greater than the sum of all the cable factors. And this page should act as a reminder of which tables are for cable factors, which ones for conduit factors, and which for trunking factors. Practice using Appendix E as often as possible until you understand it. It all adds to your knowledge and makes you more professional and competent. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found this video useful. Please subscribe to our channel to get access to all of our videos, and remember to click on notify to be sure of not missing our next video. And don't forget, you can also type in Learn Electrics into the YouTube search bar to go directly to our channel at any time from any computer or smart device. We are constantly adding new videos to our channel, so don't miss the next one. And once again, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again very soon.